What in the fuck did Slap just try to say?
Am I coming through on the microphone?
You're good now. I think you just opened the stream or something. Hello. Welcome to Shrimp Hours number 82 for the week of February 5th, 2024. January disappeared. I'm kind of pissed. It just came and went. But I guess it always does. Hi. We only have a 3-pack today. And I'm tired of playing Fall Guys because we do it on Rusty's stream every goddamn night. So I'm here. I'm drive-through. Slap's here. Rusty's here. And yeah, we're gonna rip a podcast. Even though I was probably the least prepared I've ever felt.
No fall dudes.
Unless, I don't know. I didn't want to redo the bit because we did it only 2 weeks ago. We're gonna have to figure something out if people keep not showing up to this stupid show. Which, like, I don't blame them, but like, I don't know. We'll see how we do tonight. First, I want to talk about NASCAR is back. They ran the Clash at LA on a Saturday because it rained like crazy for 3 days straight.
Biblical floods.
And they like actually pushed it forward a day, which is kind of based. Sucks for literally all the fans who bought tickets and anyone who like planned a trip around it. But it's also the Clash, like I don't know. It's not that big of a deal to miss it, in my opinion. But the race happened.
It's pretty cool because it was like free to everybody that day, and you could just like show up.
Yeah, and there still weren't like a whole ton of people, but it's also like it still wasn't like nice, and there was still like a chance of rain that night. I did think it was pretty sick that they showed the commentators up in the booth, and you could see the space shuttle stood up in the background. So it was like Coliseum and then like a little space shuttle tip and then the LA skyline behind it. Anyway, good show. They raced, they ran into each other like halfway through and then crashed a bunch and then someone won. Denny? Yeah, Denny won.
Ty Gibbs fumbled the bag.
Yeah.
I hate to admit it. I was the biggest Ty Gibbs hater, but I caught myself cheering for old Ty Gibbs a little bit. Like if he just channeled a little bit of that Xfinity energy and like just took out Denny, I feel like we got a new little we got new star on our hands. I don't know.
Literally, the only time
gonna dump his teammate again.
The only time that's the only time we can cheer for Ty Gibbs is just to fall under the anyone but Denny umbrella.
Yes.
No, I'm doing the opposite. The only time I ever cheer for Denny's when he's going up against Ty Gibbs. Fuck that little motherfucker.
All right, either way, Ty biffed it and Denny got to just walk away with the dub.
I knew that kid was bad news when I was on the call at Greenville Pickens Speedway in 2017. He rolled up and he won his first late model race by wrecking the dude in front of him.
Yeah.
Damn.
And the thing was, we had just laid down like new asphalt in the turns, and like Randy Porter came by the next week, and he's like, 3-time track champion or whatever. He's, like 50 something years old. He goes out there, he's just ripping the top. He's got like one lane above the inside, and he's just like ripping it. He's like out there with Trey Gibson, his grandson, and they're both just running like fender to fender, just too wide for like 18 laps back to back, and they race each other clean. Randy Porter made the pass and all that, so they got like brand new asphalt. There's 2 lines you can run. Ty Gibbs said, "Nah, fuck that." He came back on week 3 and he wrecked somebody again just to get ahead.
No consequences, dude.
Hold on, I might be the biggest Ty Gibbs fan now. Hold on.
No, he's a piece of shit. He's a fucking stupid little kid who, and you know what needs to happen? Tony Stewart needs to come up to him and like beat the ever living dog shit out of him, and then he'll learn. There needs to be like some NASCAR racer who says, you know what? I will not hurt your crew by tearing up your equipment. I'll tear up your fucking face. I respect your guys. I respect your organization. I will not tear up your car. I will beat the living shit out of you. We need somebody to pull a Lee Petty, come up to him with a fucking torque wrench wrapped up inside a newspaper and just
Jesus
fucking lay it into him.
Okay.
Well, the problem is the only person beefing with him right now is Joey Logano, and Joey Logano is not going to do anything. He's just going to go, and then kind of run away. That's it. That's it.
Joey Logano needs to grow a sack and beat a kid to death.
Yes, it was. I got to say, it was ironic that the kind of Joey's kind of come full circle, how he used to be that little kid, but now he's kind of trying to be like the veteran, but he's still like, I don't know. He's not gonna lay the law down.
He's still really passive. Who was also beefing? There was some beef in the garage after the race, wasn't there?
Dude, tons of beef post-race that wasn't covered at all during Fox's coverage.
Dude,
like we had to go to social media.
Someone literally got dumped in turn 2 after the checkered, and Fox never showed it at any point.
Even during like the 30-minute halftime break, apparently Stenhouse was just punching dudes through windows, and we just had no coverage of it, even though we weren't doing anything. I don't understand it.
Fox.
Yeah, I mean, I watched like a portion of it, and then like Fox was just, dude, they would do these like close-in shots, like down on the ground, like watching the cars go by after somebody like, you know, closing in on the leader. I'm like, dude, go to a wide shot. There's like 2 guys like closing in on the leader.
Every restart, the inside row stacks up 8 dudes deep, and some guys get sent up a lane and they start going 3 wide. And every restart, Fox was like, what if we framed up the top 2 cars? And no one else. It's like, dude, all the action's happening on the restart, and
then there would be like a guy turning around, and they would just like pull out from it.
Anyway,
how many times would the announcers be like, "Oh yeah, we got a spinner. Oh, they're beating and banging," and then there's just no camera cut of it.
Yeah, it's detrimental to the sport.
It's over.
But yeah, we got the Daytona 500 to look forward to in just over a week.
Well, before we jump to that, I got a quick question. I don't know if you guys have thought about it. I have for like a half a second, but this is kind of a question for you guys. If you could fix the clash, this is the trending hashtag of the week. If you could fix the clash, what would you do? Like, if you could have any fantasy, what is your fantasy?
So there's big talks about this on Twitter this week, and there seem to be sort of 2 sides of it. One side, which personally I think is pretty smart, is take the clash to the people. Like, you've got a cute little exhibition event. You've got, you know, bring the personalities and the drivers to the people. Go to LA, which they did for 3 years, and it was pretty cool, even though the turnout wasn't amazing. And then there's another group of people saying, take them to the middle of nowhere to some short tracks that already exist, to like showcase the roots of the sport or whatever. But I think it's been pretty clear that we have this format now where the clash can kind of be the like cool exhibition event where you can take it to LA, take it to wherever the hell else, you know, big markets to break into, just to show off some NASCAR. And then like they did with the All-Star race, they took that to North Wilkesboro, built that whole place up, and they can take that elsewhere too if the Wilkesboro thing becomes old. So I don't know, I think it's a pretty clear picture that we'd see the clash go to cities.
Yeah, Matt
All-Star go to old places.
Matt Dillner was just like, yeah, just take it. Like, we're spending like $2-3 million to like build this track every year. Why not just go to like a local short track, build some new grandstands there, and just do a little short track event, take all the pole winners and have them like show up and do like a 100-lap feature or something.
I think that's like, do that with the All-Star. Like, you still got to take the clash to the people. Yeah. I think it's a complete waste to take the clash to the middle of nowhere where people already watch racing.
And the good thing about the clash is you don't have to have like live pit stops or like a real competition. It's an exhibition, so you can just do whatever you want. And my mind on this whole thing kind of flipped when I saw Chicago in person. It's like, to DT's point, bring it to the people anywhere. And it's just, as long as cars are beating and banging and going in circles, I think it's good for the.
I'm not even saying like bring it to like a middle of the nowhere short track. You can hit up like Langley, like right outside DC.
Or you can, as they've proven, you can put it in a football stadium in the city. They did it in LA. I don't see why they couldn't do it in DC or anywhere else. Like,
well, the LA Coliseum's like was built really big for the Olympics, so you could do the big like marathons and like the long running shit. So you would need like a bigger stadium. Some footballs, I think most football stadiums would be too small for it, but there's some bigger ones you could go to.
I feel like I might have to do some research because I would love to come up a list of like cool places where they like reasonably could do the clash. Because there's a lot of places they could tap into, like DC or New York. I mean, New York City's hard because you can't fit anything in New York City, but
I saw somebody tweet this. I have a feeling they're going to be running over somewhere in the Middle East.
Oh yeah, run the Saudi show.
Yeah,
No.
They did say they wanted to go to like Mexico, right?
they kind of put that
I
out
heard there
there.
was
but-
some
They
rumblings.
said they're looking at going to like Mexico City or something, but not for the Clash. They said the Clash is like off the table for that, but they
Dude.
said they are trying to go
Why?
south of the border.
Why would the Clash be off the table?
Apparently they got
for that?
other plans for the Clash. I don't know if they're going to stay at LA, but I read a tweet that was I think it was Adam Stern said he talked to a NASCAR official.
I think it was a
or-
Stern one, yeah.
Yeah, they said like we're looking to go to Mexico at some point. It's
Dude,
it's in the cards, but it's not for the Clash. Clash we got other plans for.
they could run the oval in Mexico City. I mean, they used to do bush races there too on the road course, but they have like a goofy flat oval that goes around that. You just
My
break
bad.
something?
It was my mouse. Keep going.
They have a goofy oval that goes around where that baseball stadium is, where the F1 track is. I think that'd be cool. I mean, the road course would be all right too.
Didn't the Mexico City Mexico series run there?
That's a good question. I don't actually know that much about the Mexico schedule. I don't think they have a lot of ovals though. Do they have one in like Monterrey? I gotta learn more about Mexico apparently. Also Canada counts. That'd be a cool place to do stuff. But yeah, I think bringing the cars to the people is the ultimate plan for the Clash. Especially now that they got the Netflix show rolling, and more people are getting into the sport. We'll talk about that in a bit. Because first, I just want to touch on coming up next week is the ARCA Daytona race, and the entry list just came in at 50 dudes. They got 50 dudes showing up for the ARCA race, which only has 40 slots. And there's a lot of shitters, but it's just cool to see that many guys showing up just to see what we got.
What happens if Shane Van Gisbergen doesn't make the field and he can't do the Xfinity race afterwards?
That'd be kind of fucked.
It's almost impossible for him to make it because they do all this January testing, they do all this practice, they do like live multi-lap qualifying. You know, it's stupid that ARCA gets more track time than the Cup Series. But
What team is Shane running for? I actually forgot to check that. I just like
it was
quickly
like JR,
brushed over the.
is it
the
JR
entry list.
Motorsports that just got like some random car to
Like
go out
Junior
there?
Motorsports?
Yeah, Junior Motorsports.
I don't even know what number he's running. Hold on, I gotta look this up. Shane Van Hamburger and the number 28 for Pinnacle Motorsports. I've never heard of them, but apparently Shane Huffman's gonna be his crew chief. Sure. I still don't know what Pinnacle Motorsports is. I looked up Pinnacle Motorsport and it was some like Formula 4 team in like Europe.
It's like literally just a shell company owned by like Trackhouse or some shit.
So who do we have in the big Venturini cars? We got Chris Wright, who I guess is a truck reject now. Jake Finch, who I think is really young and is related to James Finch. I'm not sure. Amber Balkan and Tony Breidinger and Gus Dean. So it's going to be a Gus Dean dub, it sounds like.
Yeah. Jake Finch, isn't it James or the God, what's his name? The Finch Phoenix Racing.
That's what I think. Yeah, I think it's James Finch's grandson.
Yeah, he'd run a bunch of late model races over the years. I don't think he won a whole lot of them though.
Oh no, he's just his son, not his grandson.
Okay.
He's 18, born in 2005. Jesus. And this will be his third year making ARCA starts. That's it. Literally, if it wasn't for Venturini, I feel like the ARCA Daytona race would be a banger. But it's just going to be like a Venturini train and then everyone else tripping over each other.
Yeah.
But it'll still be worth a watch. Oh, Tanner Gray's doing it in a Joe Gibbs car too. That'll be interesting. I know they like kind of have that Toyota Alliance situation going on. There's just tons of dudes. It's gonna be cool. Brayton Laster's gonna be there. Shout out to Brayton Laster in the 95. I don't even know what team that is.
Well, since the ARCA races at Daytona have been pretty competitive the last 2 years, like maybe those, Venturini cars are kind of shitters, so they're able to like get around them and actually be competitive.
Maybe get another Greg Van Alst dub.
Is he even in this race?
Yeah, he's the one who won it last year.
Yeah, he said he was going to like scale back his operation. I didn't know if he was going to make the race.
How long before NASCAR
qualifies?
Limits the field and only guarantees spots for like Venturini cars and like 4 others? Like they're doing sounds like IndyCar.
Wait, what?
Nothing.
Hey yo.
There's a rumor that there's some drama going on over behind the scenes at IndyCar that they might guarantee spots in the Indy 500.
Oh, I did see that.
No, don't do that. It's so stupid.
Everyone's pissed already. There's just a rumor that they were going to offer like memberships. It's like basically a charter thing.
You can buy your way into the Indy 500.
But I can already hear David Land getting pissed because he hates it when people have guaranteed slots.
Why even do that when you only have 34 people showing up anyway?
It's true. Only one guy gets bumped.
This is what
because like the big teams are scared, like you're gonna have the McLaren situation again. Like, yeah, just don't be stupid. Don't skip a day of practice because the car's the wrong shade of color.
Well, it's not even just that. It sounds like the engine manufacturers only make like a combined number of like 34 engines. So like a random dude can't just buy one and like try to run the race. It's like already intentionally limited. I don't understand what that's about.
Aren't they gonna have big problems coming up with like, isn't Honda leaving and Chevy's like this? There's some kind of like engine drama. I don't watch IndyCar. I'm not insane.
I heard Honda's like knocking on the door leaving, but
yeah. I
Dude.
would too.
No. Why? No, I'm not going down this. I'm just a casual observer, but please we got to save motorsports. We got to save it. Somebody's got to save it. When I say we, like somebody.
Yeah.
Like, what are we doing?
That's a race. We can't let IndyCar die.
I'm just saying, like, Honda ran as an IndyCar as like the lone engine manufacturer for like 12 years, and there was not a problem.
I will shift back to NASCAR real quick because I know it's kind of old news now because this came out an entire week ago. But Netflix's NASCAR show, Full Speed, dropped 5 episodes. Each one's like an hour-ish long, or like 40-50 minutes. And pretty much everyone who's listening to this show has already watched it. I understand. But I do just want to say I really loved it. I have like almost no notes at all for the entire show. I thought it was like perfectly what it needed to be. What do y'all think? I know Rusty's a hater. I can see you.
I haven't watched it because I don't have Netflix.
Oh.
I've
Okay,
only
that's
ever
fair.
watched one episode of Drive to Survive, and that was just because I had a friend up in New York. I was staying at his place, and we watched one episode.
It's not quite as good as Drive to Survive, I think, but you're also working with like NASCAR and only the playoffs. But I really loved it, dude. Like, just cranked up the volume, turned all the lights off, made a big bowl of popcorn. I just enjoyed it. And I think they did a great job telling stories and like introducing people to this world of insane dudes that race NASCAR for a living. I saw some people were pissed that they spend most of the time on Denny, but he also like came in with open arms and invited the Netflix dudes over to his house a bunch of times, and they got to tell like his whole story. And I feel like it really leaves the floor open for future seasons to tell other stories, particularly like Trackhouse and stuff, things that they just kind of like touched on.
Hold up. I got the roommate being stupid. Hold on.
God damn it. Roommate's going nuts. I also like... I think I talked about this last week. I've just been really into the Netflix sports shows. I finished watching Captains of the World last night, which is the World Cup 2022 one. Dude, that thing was emotional. They like the way they lay out the stories, and it's like these dudes have like worked their entire lives for these moments, and you see it play out. That shit's intense, man. And I thought it was really cool the way they built it up for the Cup Series one. And I feel like, not to call you out specifically, Rusty, but a lot of people just like
No,
put it on
me.
in the background. They're like, oh, I already know how this goes. Like, I know what happens. But
Well,
I feel like the people who
I'll lay
could,
it out for you.
I feel like the people who could kind of like sit down with an open mind and like take it all in would have a better time.
I might have been the first person in the world to finish the series start to finish. I was first in line.
Good.
What do you mean? There's no bigger supporter.
If you just sit down and watch the whole thing in one go, you're not gonna enjoy it.
Well, I think that's a credit to NASCAR and Netflix on how good it was. I think that's the biggest compliment I can give is the pacing was wonderful. It was just like boom, 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 boom. And when it was
perfect.
over, I wanted more. And usually
Of
when you
course.
watch content, you're just kind of like you don't even make it through the whole season. It's just like, get this out of here. Like Slap was saying about Drive to Survive. Like he only watched it once. But even knowing the outcome of the playoffs and knowing everything about the season and all the drivers, I still wanted to watch all of the episodes in one sitting and rip through it.
Okay.
And
okay.
I think one of my complaints isn't a fault of NASCAR's or Netflix. It's just, I mentioned this to you. And this has just been an issue with NASCAR in general, is like our personalities aren't that good. Like, this is just me saying this. When you show William Byron for like half hour, 45 minutes, and he's just playing with Legos, that does nothing for me. I relate more to somebody like Ross Chastain when they show him actually pretending to like do watermelon stuff, or he tells Denny Hamlin he's an idiot. I like that side of things when you're actually adding a little bit of like, I don't want to say forced drama or forced character. It's just more interesting to me than building a Lego set in your like your mansion's living room. I don't know.
I honestly thought it was interesting. Like it was sort of like, here's this guy, and this is like how simple he is. Like not to put William Byron down, but he doesn't have any like intense like personality traits or whatever.
Right.
And they sort of laid out like, here's this guy, this is what he's about, this is what Denny's about. He goes insane, he does everything at once, he has this crazy mansion. And then here's William Byron, he played video games, he builds Legos, and there's him ripping it on the racetrack. And then here's Christopher Bell, who like just doesn't talk, just minds his own business, and he just drives the car. I thought that was cool. I thought it was very like genuine, and they sort of laid out each dude, and you can kind of figure out the dynamic between them. I don't know. I liked it a lot. I feel like there was a lot
I did always think William Byron was an autist who liked Legos. I just didn't have proof.
I feel like there was a lot of like Drive to Survive was really intense, but there were a lot of storylines that didn't feel 100% genuine. Like it didn't feel like they were hitting the important bits. But I felt like the NASCAR thing, whether that's like Dale Jr. with his hand in the pot as an executive producer, like actually told the storylines that matter. And there was tons of Dale Jr. like telling the story, laying it out. Here's the dudes. Here's what they're about. And there was nothing super awkward about it.
That added, I feel like, a lot of authenticity and passion to it. We got way more Dale Jr. than I anticipated. Like he was like,
which is great,
front and center immediately throughout the whole show. And then also Marty, I'm blanking on his full name. We love you, Marty. Every time he spoke, his words were like meaningful, impactful, like just the way he just crafted these little statements about the sport. It was like, Marty, thank you. This is what we need.
Yeah, he was cutting promos left, right, and center.
Yeah.
Was it Shannon Spake who was in it? She was also like really good. That was money. But yeah, tons of Marty. I haven't seen him in a while because he works with ESPN.
Yeah.
But yeah, he was like laying it out. It was sick. Dramatic. I'm a fan. I'm a huge fan. If y'all haven't watched it, and you have access to Netflix and or something that you can get the show on, take a look.
Piracy.
I didn't say it, Slap did.
I didn't say anything. You hear that weird ghost? I thought I heard something.
Did you check in on what your roommate's doing, by the way? Or did you just tell him to shut up?
Did the cat pee in the...
No, he just randomly decides, I'm gonna hook up the Bluetooth speaker, play loud music, and then scoop all the litter boxes.
I kind of respect it. Any other media to check in on this week? I have one other thing to talk about. Actually, I just remembered. I watched a like banger documentary on Netflix late last week, which apparently won an Academy Award in like 2017 or 2018 for the best documentary. But I just seen it on just on my Netflix recommendations, where it's like, hey, here's this documentary called Icarus about this this cyclist in the U.S. And it opens up in this he's like a sort of high tier amateur cyclist, and he wants to figure out how Lance Armstrong got by all those years just straight up cheating the system.
Yeah.
Juicing.
Yeah, so he gets set up with like a discreet juicing plan and starts doping to do this like high tier amateur event where they go and climb a bunch of mountains in France. And he gets set up with this like Russian dude who like knows all the secrets of like how to get around the testing. And he's like, damn, what the fuck does this guy know? And then it's one of those documentaries where it starts off like, here's the story, here's this dude biking and doping, whatever. And it ends up like literally going deep into the Russian like state sponsored doping system and the whole like Olympics ban. And this dude gets like dragged into it. One of his like associates gets like killed off by Putin. He has to like escape the country and then be the whistleblower. And this like it just becomes this whole like worldwide thing. And it's all real and it's sick. And they tell like in detail how the Russians literally just every Russian athlete was cheating, and the government was like putting them in this system where they would all cheat. And like normally they'd have to like wane off like a few weeks before the Olympics so they wouldn't get caught. But in the Russian Olympics, Putin was like, no, like we gotta win all the medals, and they just kept cheating right through the Olympics. And they were straight up like they had this system in place to like swap out the samples. It's nuts. Anyway, cool documentary. If you have Netflix, worth watching. Called Icarus. Shout out to Russia and
I
sports.
still think we should have a Group B of the Olympics where you're just allowed to juice as much as possible just to see the limits of the human body.
Yeah, dude.
Jesus Christ. It is crazy how much that works. And also how little was done about it even after it was all like laid out right in front of everyone. Yeah. Cool job.
Just human Group B is what we need.
But it's cool to like they had like so many systems in place to prevent this from happening, and the Russians had an answer to everything. Good
Hell
doc.
yeah.
If only they could have an answer to everything in Ukraine.
Thanks, Slap.
But they just put too much emphasis on stupid fucking sports nobody gives a shit about instead of actually having a military that was competent.
It was kind of a convenient out because a lot of people were sort of half in on banning the Russians from sports because they were clearly cheating everything. But then once they invaded Ukraine, it was like, oh, it's easy.
This sounds like some anti-Russian propaganda. You know what? You're making me sympathize for the
you gotta watch
supposed bad guys. Come on,
you gotta watch this, dog.
Rusty, you're a microcosm of everything wrong with America,
dude. Okay, Slap. I thought of you. I went to go see a movie. It's a 40-year-old movie last night. I went to go see it in theaters. It's called Escape from New York. And the one thing that have you seen this movie, Slap?
I thought you were going to say Escape from Tarkov. I was about to say, man, I got back into Escape from Tarkov. That game, I'm such a shitter at that game. I was just getting murked. My longest run was like literally 3 minutes. I got killed in 18 seconds one time.
Can you please start streaming? I know you kind of maybe teased the idea. I would love for you to stream anything, like even if it's Team Fortress 2, any game. I would tune in. I would love it.
I would play the fuck out of some Team Fortress 2.
Hell yeah.
Just don't go in that server. Do not go in that server.
The problem is the furry servers. They're the only ones that are any good. And then it'll just be people like, yeah, I'm going to fuck you in the ass, bro. And it's just like, God, shut the fuck up.
Sounds like great stream content. What do you mean?
Dude, I literally heard a guy say he was going to spread my cheeks and fill me with positivity. I'm just like, no.
You should stream.
I might.
I guess we'll just roll into friggin' crazy ass moments in history since nothing else is interesting. Slap, what do you got for us this week?
All right, so this is the recommendation from last week. This is a story
You actually listened.
of the USS Wisconsin Temper.
Hell yeah.
It's time for Slap's crazy ass moments in history.
I just noticed the like distorted maniacal laughter in the background of that track tonight. That was something. Ugh. All right, what the hell?
Right.
We got boats. What is this?
It's boats, World War II boats. All right, so going into World War II, America had this idea for like a fast battleship, like something that could go 32 knots, keep up with the aircraft carriers, which were also fast. They came up with the fast carrier division with Admiral Bull Halsey at the helm. This was, the Hornet, the Yorktown, and the Enterprise. These were the guys who won the Battle of Midway. And so once we go into World War II, and it seems like the North Carolina class, the North Carolina and the Washington, which, fun fact, they scored the last battleship on battleship kills ever in U.S. naval history. Then the battle just off of Guadalcanal, they took out a bunch of ships out there. But once this concept is proven with their big 16-inch guns, and when I say 16-inch, I mean the shell was like 16 inches across. Like, this is a big boy.
Hell yeah.
This is just something that could make a crater 25 feet across and could hit a target 25 miles away. This was an insanely destructive force. And so once this concept is proven, the U.S. Navy's like, look, we need more of these things. They come up with the South Dakota class. It's a much shorter, smaller package, but it still has 9 16-inch guns on it. Has a very good fire control system, and it can hit basically, the North Carolina class could hit a city block size target from 25 miles away. The South Dakota class could hit a house from 25 miles away. So this is like pinpoint accuracy.
The idea of that to me is still insane. 25 miles, just it makes no sense. Like climbing on board that thing in South Carolina, I don't get it. I do not get it.
That was using all analog computers and radar finders. Like,
yeah,
that was
that's
just
what's nuts.
Yeah, that's crazy. And then they come up with the Iowa class. This is this big boy, just long boys. It was the biggest ship that could fit through the Panama Canal, because the U.S. Navy had this problem. Like, look, we're making all of our ships on the East Coast, where all the docks are, Norfolk and Newport News, Virginia. And then they got to get out to the Pacific. So they got to be small enough they can fit through the Panama Canal. So U.S. battleships were never the biggest, but they were always the best because they could just hit targets way out there with like pinpoint accuracy. And so one of the Iowa class that gets put out there is USS Wisconsin. Ends up coming out pretty late, but it earned some battle stars in the Battle of Okinawa. It's a big, long boy.
Big boy.
Dude.
It has 9 16-inch guns. It has 25-inch anti-aircraft dual-purpose guns. It has hundreds of 40-millimeter and 20-millimeter guns. This is a picture of it during its refit in the 80s, where it was fitted to shoot off Tomahawk cruise missiles. And it was recommissioned in the 80s. It actually fired on Iraqi positions in Desert Storm in 1991. So she had a long, long history of just slinging death around.
Dude. That's a sick photo.
So she earned some battle stars in Okinawa, bombards the coast of Japan. And then, the war ends. It turns out Harry S. Truman, who I think he was from Missouri, so he wanted the USS Missouri, which is part of the Iowa class, to be the ship that signed the documents to end World War II over in Japan, like in Tokyo Harbor. So the Wisconsin got snubbed on that. But it's doing its job. It gets decommissioned in 1948 and goes into the mothball fleet. Like on the west coast out of Puget Sound, there's just a ton of like U.S. warship hulks just sitting there, and they're still there today. They rotate ships in and out, but it's just a mothball fleet that if something were to happen, we can recommission a bunch of ships and get them out there. And that happened in 1950. Turned out the North Koreans decided to invade South Korea, and the Korean War was on. And so in 1950, USS Wisconsin gets recommissioned. They do a shakedown cruise, take her out to the Mediterranean, go down to Cuba, which was still a U.S. asset at that point. Take her through the Panama Canal and out to Korea she went. At some point, she's out doing a patrol. This is after the landing in Incheon, which basically the UN forces have been pushed all the way down to Busan, basically this tiny little area. Like they're basically on death's door. But General MacArthur does the landing at Incheon, which is about where at the 38th parallel where they used to be separated at. And it's this big swing, and they move up, and then there's all this crazy shit that happens. Battle lines are moving back and forth across the entire country just all the time. The USS Wisconsin in March 15th, 1952, is doing a patrol along the coast of Korea. And she's with the USS Buck, a little destroyer is escorting her, and the USS St. Paul, a cruiser from World War II that's also escorting her. Yeah, there's the boys.
Cute little baby.
There's the boys. There's the Buck, the little ship over there to the left. There's a St. Paul to the right. And they're doing a patrol off the coast of Korea. And there is one 155 millimeter howitzer, North Korean howitzer, that sees the Wisconsin, doing a patrol out there and decides to take a pot shot at it.
Oh.
And actually hits it in the gun turret. Except it does no damage. Nobody's killed. There's 3 guys who have some minor injuries from just getting concussed inside the gun turret, because the gun turret was the thickest part of the armor. Like this was like 20 inches of steel. And so it just eats the 155 millimeter howitzer, and it turns around with its 460 millimeter 16-inch guns and just decides, we're not going to fire one turret at it. We're going to fire all 9 guns at this one motherfucker out there. And so they unleash, like, this is like unprecedented. If you saw like one land target, you would fire maybe like one turret at it, 3 guns to take it out. The Wisconsin was pissed though. They
poked the bear.
All 9 guns, they eviscerate this position. There's nothing left of it. There's a crater that's like 50 feet wide. Just all these guns hit it. And the USS Buck that was escorting it just flashed a message in Morse code on its light. Just says, Wisconsin, temper, temper. And so the Wisconsin was known for just like being this pissed off big ship that would way overreact just any like minor slight, and would just unleash all of its guns at just the drop of a hat. The captain was not fucking around during the Korean War.
Sounds pretty base to me.
Yeah, and so it gets decommissioned in the 1960s, and it's spent some time in the mothball fleet. Ronald Reagan comes around. He's like, we want these battleships recommissioned. So they take off like all these extra like anti-aircraft guns from World War II. They put on all these Tomahawk missile guns. They put a helipad on it. And just in time for the Gulf War, they send her and the Missouri out there. And they just bombard Iraqi shore positions just as like a show of force. And I think we got a video of it, like shooting his guns off for the final time in September of 1991.
Yeah,
just as a
third
demonstration. Yeah, so there it is, positioning the gun. That's the breach right there where it gets loaded from.
Picture in picture of them firing rounds. God.
Just slinging steel 25 miles out.
Oh my god.
And you can see just the scale of these friggin' shells. That's crazy that this boat had 3 like entire lives.
Fought in 3 wars across 5 decades.
Yeah. God damn.
So if you would like to visit the USS Wisconsin, it's still around. It's a museum ship over in Norfolk, Virginia.
They got a lot
There
of
it is.
they got a lot of boats out there in Norfolk. Dude, look at these. Imagine just having your apartment right here and you just look at these big ass warship guns every day.
You really
God
can't appreciate
damn.
the scale until you see it in person. Like
Yeah, and there's
it's
just dudes
mind-blowing.
visiting the museum.
By the way, soldiers would take photos with, they would get like a guy who's kind of smaller in stature. They'd stuff him in the gun so he'd like be poking out of it. And then have they just have like 3 dudes just like poking out, just like, you know, doing the peace sign and all that, just chilling in the guns.
The peace sign
But-
is very on point.
It used to be V for victory back during World War II days, but I actually visited the USS North Carolina in Wilmington. And dude, even though that was a little bit smaller, that is a massive fucking ship, dude. The guns, even like the small, like 20mm guns for anti-aircraft stuff when they got close, like even those are like big honkers, man. They're like the size of a Prius.
How many days do you think you guys could survive at sea? I give myself like 72 hours tops, and then I'm getting thrown overboard. Like I would go crazy as soon as the land disappears. I'm like, get me out of here, man! Like there's nothing more
Yeah.
claustrophobic than like going below the deck. Like, dude, and you hear the engine just go, like it's just churning.
And there's just
like,
no
dude,
escape. Like
get
you
me out.
cannot
Yeah.
leave. That's just not an option. You can't go anywhere. You're
Yeah.
just stuck in this thing. Ugh.
Yeah, fun fact though, the aircraft carriers, they had a deal during World War II for the destroyers that were escorting them. They said if you fish one of our pilots out of the water, if they like crash land or whatever next to the carrier, if you fish them out, we'll give you 50 gallons of ice cream. So there would be like destroyers like right up next to the carriers just in case a guy had to bail, and they would like fight each other to like get the pilot out. That way
Get the
they could
ice cream.
get the ice cream, because only a aircraft carrier was big enough to have refrigeration units on it. The little destroyers couldn't have all that, so if they wanted ice cream, that was the only way to get it. But I actually have watched a couple documentaries on like how they prepared food on aircraft carriers.
Of course.
And, dude, it was just like dudes with like massive like cauldrons of food just stirring it up. And dude, there's nothing in this world I love more than just making a big pot of chili or something.
Just a huge communal vat.
Yeah, dude, if I could have been guaranteed under penalty of law to be a chef on an aircraft carrier, I would have gone into the Navy. But I had heard so many horror stories of guys who said they were going to be promised like one job and they end up doing something completely different. And they end up like sleeping in like a mud bog in the army, and when they were supposed to be in the rear with the gear or whatever. And I was just like, nah, fuck that. I don't want to do that.
So they get you.
But
Someone's got to do the dirty
being like
jobs.
below decks, never seeing the sun for like weeks at a time, but just like stirring up a pot full of food, like I would have loved it.
Dude, and the guys in the submarines.
6 days a week, 10 hours a day, just cooking up food, just stirring it up, dude. I would love that shit.
If you can see some daylight every once in a while, maybe. But it takes me back to the conversation we had about the crush depth pizza parties of just the submarines with like 100 dudes just squeezed in there, all sleeping on top of each other, and there's no daylight, and there's no even like space to move. It's fun.
Well, at least on an aircraft carrier, you got some space. You know, you can go up topside. There's a lot of area.
You can
up
go
there.
run around.
Even in like the hangar, there's like a bunch of area you can move around, all the planes and shit around. But yeah, that's what I wanted to be like on an aircraft carrier, just cooking up food all the time. But I just didn't want to get like on like submarine cook duty or some bullshit, you know. I didn't want to be part of the crush depth pizza party.
All right, we're gonna roll on to Animal Planet. You want to hear some stories from the track? I guess there were actually stories in Slap's Cherokee Speedway video.
There's some characters out there.
But I don't think we've gone anywhere in the past week. This is supposed to be Cody's segment,
that clip
but
of the dude like with his shirt up, just like playing with his nipples in the beginning.
where, like, was that in an old video that you found or what?
No, I was just like out at Cherokee for like a Friday night race, and
You just pulled the camera up and some dude was just fiddling his nips.
Yeah, some dude like saw me like filming, and he just like started doing that.
God damn.
Yeah, there's crazy motherfuckers out there.
Do you have any Animal Planet stories, or is this segment dead? Because I'm feeling like it's on its last legs whenever Cody doesn't show up.
Yeah, we're out of race season. I haven't been to a race this year yet, but yeah, feeling kind of light, kind of lean on stories.
Dude, yeah, it's cold as hell. I'm not going anywhere. Every winter I get through this and I'm like, what did I do last winter? Like, it was just so cold. The answer is usually nothing. But I guess, this winter's not so bad. All the snow's gone now. All right, that was Animal Planet.
Can we talk about like the Animal Planet of like the South Carolina weather?
Sure, what happened?
Been fucking stupid. It was 70 degrees yesterday. It was like 40 today. I don't understand it.
That's not.
It's like it'd be like short sleeves and shorts one day, and then the next day you're like bundled up. It'll be like a low of like 19 or something.
Slap, I want you to know, when you complain about anything weather related in South Carolina, it sounds like
you're driving good.
Yeah.
Dude, I would love to get one day.
I just hate that it can't make up its fucking mind. I gotta pull out my entire wardrobe. I've got like jackets, I got hoodies, I got insulated pants and everything. Also have my shorts out, t-shirts. I got my big boy like insulated boots, and I've got my like low cut breathable shoes out.
It's like when it was randomly cold as fuck at Volusia that one time. I know we talk about this all the time, but like,
well, that's just Florida. That's Florida all the time.
Yuck. All right.
And then 2 days later, we're sweating in the stands during the qualifying.
It's time to send them in.
Send in your fucking mail. Wash your fucking hands, Slap. Send in your fucking mail. Send them in, guys. Wash your fucking hands, Slap. I don't give a fuck, man. You better send in those emails at this point. Welcome to fan mail. Fan mail. Fan mail. Fan mail.
I was rewatching some old episodes, and I heard Ben say that he just said a Drip or Drown song was on the way, and that was like 8 months ago.
Yeah, he said he had an idea like 8 months ago, and then he didn't like it that much. That's the end of the story. If it feels like I've been speedrunning this podcast, it's because we have 11 emails.
Yeah.
Which is really most of our content nowadays, because I am just out of ideas constantly. And no one else shows up. And you guys just carry the show. All right.
And it's the off season.
Yeah. But we never stop. We never stop, because if we stop, it's over. All right.
I forgot. I forgot my whole bit for this week. We'll have to do it next week. Week. What?
Okay. As long as we have content next week, I'm cool with that.
Yeah. Well,
all right.
Write it down. Better not forget about it again. Stupid.
First email comes in from Luke, who says, I'm sure you've talked about this already. We haven't. But what are your thoughts on Hamilton to Ferrari? And when did you hear the rumor? I heard the rumor first the night before and was like, that's bullshit. Then opened Twitter in the morning and my whole feed was Lewis to Ferrari confirmed. Yeah, I slept through that and I woke up in the afternoon and I was like, huh? What?
I am moving to Monza effective immediately. I'm going to be the biggest Ferrari fan on the planet. We are winning every race, the championship, doing what Vettel couldn't.
Well, because Ferrari's become like the retirement home of F1. They had
what do you mean? They have Charles and Carlos right now.
We're back.
Kimi Räikkönen came back. Vettel came over there. I mean, it's just
they've changed since then.
No, it's a bunch of bums.
No.
I do love though that it's like any other driver, you'd be like, what the fuck are they doing? But because it's Lewis Hamilton, like, you're not allowed to hate on any team changes he makes. Because in 2013, when he moved to Mercedes, they were like a mid-pack, like dookie team, and he left McLaren at the top of their game, and he went to Mercedes, and everyone's like, what is he doing? He's crazy. Like, that's a stupid move. And the rest is history.
That's because Mercedes told him, like, hey, here's how we're gonna cheat.
So what's Ferrari on then? I don't know. And
They
I know he's got
hey, here's how we're gonna cheat.
and he's got a connection with Fred. He's worked with him before. He believes in it clearly. My biggest concern is just the Italians are animals and they can't keep a team principal for more than 4 years unless he wins like immediately. So like first year Fred and Hamilton, like they're gonna have to hit pretty quick. Otherwise I feel like they'll just cycle team principals and then it'll just be over.
How fun is Formula One going to be? Even all this whole season, it's going to be fantastic. But the first time Lewis climbs in that car, this is something somebody like me needs, a casual to the sport. I cannot wait. This is going to be the greatest thing ever. And all the hardcore fans are going to get all just bent out of shape. I think this is amazing. This is great television. Lewis is taking Ferrari back to the promised land. I'm telling you, Max, your reign ends. Go retire, disappear. Lewis is winning number 8. Ferrari is gonna win everything.
I feel like we've been waiting for it. Like this whole past season, everyone's sort of like, new regulations 2026. And then this year it's like, hey, it's the first time ever that every single driver has stayed in the same car for like a year. And now like we finally have the big bombshell for next year, and Carlos is gonna have to find somewhere new, and it's just gonna shake up everything, and there'll be the Mercedes seat available, and it's good. It's kind of funny that they do it in January. Now they have like a whole season with their old teams to kind of like do what they can, which is kind of stupid because I just know the entire season people are going to talk about where they're going to be next year, and the entire season they're going to say my goal is to just do as well as I can with my team this year. But it's going to be cool. It's a big shakeup. It literally feels like some shit out of Formula One video game.
So good.
Having Hamilton and a Ferrari is like a fever dream for so many years, but now it's actually happening. Except it's in an entire year, so we're gonna have to like kind of
like Schumacher at the top of his game going to Jaguar or some shit.
I guess so. All right. The next email comes in from Kyle. And he says, nothing happened this week, except I realized the 2014 Aero package was gold. That's the Twitter kid Kool-Aid. Anyway, my question this week is, who do you think will win the 500 this year? I'm still on the sinking ship that's waiting for Rowdy to finally do it, even though he showed great potential. Also, here's another paint scheme. And I sent in a picture of a World of Outlaws video game car. Purple, so yeah. I think we're gonna save our picks for next week because we did this last year where we picked like a champion and a playoff guy. I'm like, I honestly had a lot of fun doing our stupid little football brackets. I'm wondering if we should do like before any races, run like a 16 dude playoff bracket, and then whoever hits the most gets the money. Like we'll throw $5 each in again or something. Yeah. What do you think? Among the shrimps,
just call the playoffs early.
Yeah, like before the season, you pick your 16 dudes. Whoever has the most gets the money.
That's super toxic because if it's like winning in, like, oh my god.
Yeah, that's what I mean.
Right
like it's such a long game.
Gonna win the 500.
Yeah.
Oh my god.
And do you pick like some weirdo to make your bracket? I don't know. So stay tuned.
We should have like a double or nothing. Like you could like readjust your bracket if you pay double
at the All-Star
like,
break.
Yeah, or like after the 600 or something. Yeah.
Okay, but maybe you can only like swap out like 8 dudes or something. Okay, we'll figure it out. We'll get something cooking. All right. The next email comes in from Tussle Snow 24. He says, I went to my first 2 concerts last year. It was Stained opening for Godsmack and Tool. So I'm wondering, what would your dream concert be? Personally, I would love to see Alice in Chains and Death. They can be dead, alive, or broken up. Also, I think core will be over when this next episode is recorded, so I'm going to lock in a cozy championship and hopefully a rusty top 10. Later, Shrimps. Have a good one. Good one. Funny. Yeah, what are your dream concerts? Like, what's your ultimate show if you had to pick an opener and like a main?
Dude, if I spent my early 20s going to like thrash metal shows, and I gotta say, like the atmosphere at those places, just people going wild, just mosh pit and everything. If I could get cross-examination and municipal waste to open for Exodus, and I could like go to that show in Charlotte in just like some random like podunk metal bar or something, I would die happy. just a cum dungeon, just dudes. Just
oh my god. My answer would be really boring because it'd just be some like low key like indie dreamy shit. I don't really have like a normie dream concert lineup. I don't think. I don't know. That's not that interesting. All right, next email.
If I could add another
Sorry
one.
for killing it.
If I could add
Adding
another
what?
one, dude.
All right, yeah, you fill in for me. What do you got?
Had opening for Soundgarden. That's a fucking thing that actually happened like back in the day. Tad and Soundgarden would tour together. And, like if you never heard Tad before, this was a Seattle band that like they were like one of the first wave of grunge bands, and they were pushed by Sub Pop, who were like the big Seattle label that like really pushed grunge. And it was just like this Tad Doyle, this big fat dude who was just this great front man. And he would just have this big booming voice, and they would just play like straight up like fucking like heavy ass guitar riffs. They just had this one song called Behemoth, and it was just like him just saying, Behemoth, motherfucker, dun dun, and they just play like loud as fuck. And then, of course, Soundgarden, Chris Cornell, and all those dudes, they were heavy, they were experimental and everything. If I could have like seen that at like the Kingdom back in the day in Seattle, that would have been lit as fuck.
That was a very
kind of
slap answer.
If I could go back in time 25 years, I think I would have checked out Rage Against the Machine. I never had that opportunity back in the day. I think that'd be fun to experience.
All right. The next email comes in from Anton, first time mailer. He says, hello, Shrips. This is my first mail. However, I've been a pretty regular listener since August 23. By the way, Slap, please plug this podcast more on your main channel. I had no idea it existed for over a year.
No.
There's a reason
I was thinking about just like putting it there end of a random video that I know is going to be a banger or something. Just like, hey, by the way, check out my podcast, Shrimp Hours Presents. Flood you guys with like 2,000 views.
Oh, God. Tell us before you do that, please.
I want to cut the merch if I do that.
Dude, we don't make a lot. We are.
I want my $15.
It's less than that, I'm pretty sure.
Yeah.
All right. The next email, or not the next email. I'm gonna continue reading this email. I'm going nuts. I'm losing it. It's over. Anton says, I'm from Germany, which is famous for bread and beer, obviously. Since American bread is awful, I want to talk about beer. I've only had the chance to try a Belgian brewed Budweiser beer, and it was pretty okay. If any of you have tried German beer before, what was your impression? And could you please make a small, non-comprehensive tier list of American beers you personally consume? I think Yingling is Slab's answer.
Yeah, Yingling's pretty good. PBR, Schlitz, those are, top tier, like big.
PBR is not top tier, my friend. I'm sorry. Cody's not here to
Miller Lite
perpetuate.
and Bud Light, Budweiser, and just High Life.
I guess so. American beer is just like, it's just beer. Like it to Americans, it really like does not matter that much.
Yeah, it's pretty bland over here.
Like if you think you're really fancy, you'll have like a Stella or Corona, not even American. Just if you're from Germany, like don't drink American beer. You have great beer. Enjoy that.
Yes.
Yeah. If you want to get exotic, get some Czech beer. Czechs make amazing brews.
Like some Grolsch. That's Czech, isn't it?
Is it?
I think it
Czech?
is. I want to make sure I'm not racist.
Pilsner Urquell is Czech. That's like my go-to Czech beer.
Oh, Grolsch is Dutch. Shit. I do like me some Dutch beer, I guess.
That's Dutch
yeah, I was
beer
gonna say, because I love ripping some Heinekens. Generally, thanks for the great entertainment over the last few months, but one final addition. Rome as the capital of Italy and the Vatican City as the capital of itself are arguably even closer to each other than Kinshasa and Brazzaville. Bye for now, from Anton. That's a good point. I'd said those two capitals, the two Congos, were the closest, but like Vatican City is technically inside of Rome. But
the Vatican City is not a real city-state, and I do not recognize the Catholic Church.
All right, shout out to Slap Shoes.
I love Slap.
The Pope is illegitimate and a sham.
Jesus Christ. Okay, I see why you don't bring the
I do
viewers
not
here.
recognize your false Roman popery.
The next email comes in from Jace again.
We got to read the archives, man. We got to know what's down there. You're like,
There's nothing down there. They got rid of that in the Council of Trent.
What's the nearest rider rental place in Rome? Jace writes in, I write in with clarification and a question. As far as clarification for Cody, this is about the driveway coming from the highway last week. And he says it was a 2-lane highway until about 15 to 20 years ago, and it got expanded to a 4-lane highway, and it had houses built in the 50s and 60s. And apparently there are people who are okay with living beside the busiest road in the county. And there's nothing wrong with the houses, so they still stand along with their driveways. That's insane. That's so American, though. Just turn the street into a highway and just leave the people living there. Like, you just...
There's tons of places like that in South Carolina. Just like houses right there on the main road with like 4 lanes of traffic.
dude,
That is no way to live.
St. Paul, they built the main highway right over like the lowest income housing in the area.
Oh, they do that everywhere.
It's diabolical.
Yeah, just bulldoze the houses.
Yeah, dude.
My question for this week is a bit random, but I'm asking it anyways. What is the funniest threat you've ever received? I've had a pretty interesting threat thrown my way by a kid who was so convinced he could beat me in a fight about a week ago. Although he's around 5'9", 165 and has no martial arts or fighting training, I, on the other hand, stand at 6'4", 230, and I don't have any fighting experience, but I know I could kick his ass in a fight. P.S. Good job on pronouncing my name right, DT. I'm thoroughly impressed. Usually around 50% of the people don't pronounce it right the first time, and I often get called Jose, so kudos. It's Jase. That's Jace. I don't know what the hell else you would call that. But yeah, what is the funniest threat you've ever received? I don't know if I have an answer to that. I've definitely received some questionable threats and shrimpage, but most of which can't be said on this show, unfortunately.
I was working construction one time, and I got told, stay away from. There was a guy we were working with named Russell, and and they said, stay away from Russell. There's nothing sexier. He sees nothing sexier than soap running down the crack of another man's ass. He's like, stay away from him. He's been to prison.
All right. The next email comes from.
It's just like, what the fuck? This is when I was working construction. I was like 19. I was just like, well, who the fuck are these weirdos?
Jesus Christ.
You
Jason and Russell and Spartanburg, man, those guys were some characters.
That was an awakening for Slab. That says a lot
I
right
knew
there.
the defense mechanism. You just got to be more depraved than the other guy.
All right. The next email comes from a good friend from down under, Andrew R. It says, afternoon, all y'all. Before you go clowning on Rusty, who said he felt good after a period of going without food for a few days. He's basically saying it's ketosis when your body makes use of fat stores instead of glucose. They're going friggin' ketones.
Yeah, I didn't get to finish the story, but I'm telling you, never felt better. Never ever felt better. And it made like I think I tried to get to the point last week, but like it makes me question just the entire food pyramid and everything they tell you. Because I'm telling you, if you experience it, you'll know when your entire perspective on your entire life will change. And I'm mad I didn't do this 20 years ago. I'm genuinely mad.
I guess I never thought of it as like a variation of the keto diet. I was thinking the keto friggin' people throwing all their bread out and eating like veggies and just meat. But I never considered that just not eating anything can achieve that same state.
Dude, you feel amazing.
Also, the fact that he was drinking bone broth says that he was also getting some useful nutrients and electrolytes at the same time. So yeah, Andrew R is a big fan of the bone broth, no food.
Dude, I've been just drinking bone broth for breakfast and not having any solid food for breakfast. And I'm like, I went from like 233 2 weeks ago down to 223.
Oh, my boy.
Damn.
My boy.
Damn.
The only gluten I've been getting is beer, by the way.
Yeah, and he says it might be similar to why people who run get like a high, I guess.
In other news, food is fake. It's a psyop. You don't need it. It's made up by the agricultural industry.
Just stop eating. This is medical advice. P.S. Why would anyone want Monster Energy and alcohol? Monster Energy is already filth. There are good reasons why Jack Daniels and Cola exists. They got it right the first time. I mean, Four Loko exists. I don't know.
Whiskey and Coke is way better than like any of that bullshit.
No, but we were just saying, like, if you're gonna make an alcoholic Monster Energy, like, don't, like, make it a Monster Energy, you know? Don't make the taste without the action.
Why doesn't it have caffeine in it? I want to like go till 3 a.m. I want to feel like I'm drinking like beer cocaine.
There's a reason Jaeger bombs exist. What, beer cocaine? All right. But yeah, there's a reason Jaeger bombs exist. Sometimes you just gotta rally.
Yeah.
Sometimes you gotta go deeper. He also sent in.
I will say this: if you don't like go deep enough, and you have like a couple of Crown and Cokes, you decide, all right, I'm gonna go to bed now, and then you wake up at 2 a.m. and you're just like, can't go back to sleep. Fuck.
Your heart is just going.
Yeah, you're sweating. There's like a pool of sweat, like in the outline of your body, just like sitting in the fucking bed.
He also sent in a Trip or Drown submission of Andre Heimgartner's car for next year. I don't understand it. There's a lot of drama going on in supercars right now that I am just not tuned in on, so I can't even comment on why Heimgartner has a picture of himself swearing, saying that's unreal with a Pizza Hut logo. I'm gonna do some research this week and figure out what the hell is going on in Australia. Because I also saw there's big drama with Erebus and
Kostecki.
And Kostecki. He's like not in that car, even though he was supposed to be in that car. And I don't know what the hell he's doing. I don't know what's going on. So tune in next week. We'll figure it out.
I think we should ban Australia until we can figure out what the hell is going on.
Thanks, Slap. I don't know. Just I'm sorry to dismiss you like that, but just seeing the American presidential situation is just inducing more like depression by osmosis. All right. The next email comes in from The next email comes in from T-Bone, and he says, "Hello, shrimps. Fall Guys has left me in shambles. If you know, you know. I recently started watching Breaking Bad, and I have to honestly say I've probably never been hooked on a show so early into its first season. I've started up season 2, and I'm even more hooked. My question for you, given the recent news of Lewis Hamilton going to Ferrari, what player or driver signing to any pro sports team left you the most shocked? Sincerely, from T-Bone."
Brady to the Bucks.
That was pretty nuts.
Yeah, I was just like, that's not going to happen. And then like actually happened. I was like, well, he's not going to do anything with that. Wins the Super Bowl immediately.
Like the opposite of Rodgers to the Jets.
Yeah.
It happened and then he's dead immediately.
I might go with Timberwolves moving Kevin Garnett to the Celtics back in like the summer of, I think it was 07, 08. That was locally a big deal because that man is Jesus here. Like he's the man, he's the guy, and we shipped him off for a bunch of nobodies. And the cool thing was he won the title that year, kind of like what Brady did, but that was a big deal back in the day.
I love it. It makes me think of Harden to the Clippers, but not because of his actual performance, just because of that one broadcast clip. I don't know if I have any other. There must be some F1 shit.
Ken Griffey to the Reds was pretty big back in the day. That's another. That's how old I am.
Kimi Räikkönen coming out of retirement, out of nowhere, and going to Lotus in 2012. Like end of 2011, they announced it, and I was like, what the fuck? He's back. That was pretty nuts. And just imagining him in anything other than a Ferrari was like completely out of my mind. Although I guess he was in a McLaren before that, but it was still kind of nuts.
Rusty, I just wanted to look it up on my phone to confirm it, but Kevin Garnett, Greenville, South Carolina's own.
Yeah, and then he went to Chicago after that. Yeah, dude.
Mm-hmm.
All right, we got Jesus Christ, 3 more emails.
First player out of high school in the league in 100 years, greatest of all time, Kevin Garnett. KG, the big ticket.
Sure, I don't know ball.
First ballot Hall of Fame.
All right, the next email comes in. The next email comes in from Ruby. It says, hey, Grand Shrimps. Hope everyone is well after watching the Clash on Sunday. I am, in fact. My fan mail for today is mostly for DT, but everyone can respond. Do you think NASCAR paint schemes are better today from a design standpoint, or do you think it was better with the more simplistic designs of the past? As a designer, I enjoy making the complex styled ones of today, but I look at old schemes and kind of enjoy how simplistic they are, yet still being nice to look at on track. By the way, I'm glad the Blue Thunder paint idea went hard. That's true. Ruby gave me that idea. I ran that in core last year. It was a banger. I like design. I don't know. I think the new cars are sick. And I love seeing things like Alpha Prime, who have a new design on all 3 of their cars every single week, and they're somehow all bangers. I mean, there's something to be said for someone who runs a persistent design, like Kyle Larson has been running that thing for 4 years or whatever. And I'm sure it's cool and it's simple and it's memorable, but like in the moment, it's kind of boring. But it, you know, it does make iconic things. Like, I don't know. I feel like the stuff that sticks out from back in the day was just like, just went unbelievably hard. Like the Jeff Gordon Rainbows is just like a just all timer. And I don't know if we necessarily have as many like all timers now, but there's just so many designs in and out that I think it's better now than it used to be. Like, it's so easy for a team to just rewrap a whole car week to week rather than having to paint a bunch of shit beforehand. That being said, Jimmy Johnson's Daytona 500 car is actually cool as hell. He's running the just petty blue. Other than the fake bumper nonsense, I think it's really like one of the coolest cars he's raced recently. Like, it's just petty blue with some logos on it, and it looks sick. Yeah, I think there's still a lot of space for simplistic design.
I think the reason why those simplistic designs like stick in our head so much is because those guys raced it week to week for sometimes multiple years in a row.
Yeah,
you know, Rusty with the white up front and the blue in the back, and then he did that from 97 through 2000, 2001.
Something like
and
that.
Then just went to straight blue after that, and he did that for the next 4 years or whatever.
It's cool, but it's not like design interesting, in my opinion.
But the Mark Martin Valvoline swoosh, he ran that for 2 years, and it was, everybody still says it's like his best paint scheme. Or the swarm of angry V's.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking.
I like the V's. That's my personal favorite. Like the spray paint, like kind of look to it, and then you like look in, it's like, oh, it's just a bunch of little Valvoline V's all over the place.
Yeah, I do think it's kind of weird though that some, not weird, but there's some drivers that just like don't have like a scheme. Like Kyle Larson has his scheme. Chase Elliott has his scheme. Napa 9, whatever. Like, what is, like, Bubba Wallace? What is the Bubba Wallace car? He kind of just runs everyone equally. There's no, like, specific thing. Like, God, even Ty Gibbs has his thing, you know, the Monster Energy thing.
Or at least Penske used to have the scallops, you know. It'd be a different sponsor, different color, but
Joey Logano running a plain yellow car for the past 2 years has been pretty sad. Like,
it's even more plain now.
Yeah, they literally just pulled more off of it. I don't know. That's not interesting. It's not good. I feel like there's good simplistic design, and then there's that. All right. The next email has no subject and no text. It's a picture for Mark. And it's just a high school, like one of those desk chair combos, but it's been completely flattened. I don't know how this happens. How many dudes do you have to put on top of this desk to like squat this thing over?
One fat kid is never living that down.
That thing is fucked, dude. I just appreciate you for sending that image in and nothing else. That was great. Thank you. All right. The last email came in 27 minutes ago from Kyle. Who says, "Hello, Shrimps. Is it just me, or would Black Sheep by Metric be a great song for a kick-ass reveal for the new NASCAR game? It would fit the return of what essentially is Papyrus and Monster games. Good song. That's the one they made for Scott Pilgrim movie. So this is right up my alley. Thank you, Kyle. I'm not like a video guy. I don't know. I don't do a lot of video editing, as many of you know. But every once in a while, I'll roll through a song where I'm like, dude, this would make a sick promo. I got to start making a playlist of them because I always lose track. But like, I don't know. I don't make promos for anything, and I don't know. It'd be cool. It's an interesting idea. Thanks for sending them in. Those were our 10 friggin' emails for this week. Do we have anything else to talk about in this show, or can I go to bed now?
No, you got to stay up. I want to talk to you.
Fall Guys.
Okay,
yeah, we're
to me,
about to
Rusty.
play Fall Guys. We're going to win 8 in a row right now. Because last time you went to bed early, we almost ripped the greatest streak of all time. I don't want to talk about how it ended. And it happened. Slap coincidentally went to bed too, and that's when we also went on the streak.
It's because Ed didn't want to play.
That is true.
Rusty,
I said I would play if Ed was going to play. We'd do squads, and then he was just like, "No, dude, don't put me in that box." Like he's never put anybody in a box before.
Rusty, I don't know how you do it. I don't want to play Fall Guys anymore. Like it's been like 6 days straight.
Come on, you pussy.
I can't do it.
Is this an intervention? Like, what's going on?
No,
here?
like I respect you and your ability to play the same game every single night for weeks on end. I can't do it. I got to do something new. I have like a period of like 5 or 6 days. I'm like really into a game. I can play it a lot, and then like I got to do something new, or I'll like rotate like 2 or 3 games.
Space game.
Space. See, that Space Game's coming back. It's made the rotation away for a few weeks. We just need dudes for Space Game. That's the problem. And Ben refuses to play Space Game.
That's how
Cody's
we put him
gone
on
all the time.
we put him on like monitor duty, and that was like the one thing he did. So he's tired of it. It was like, no, there's a new meta, Ben. We don't have anybody on the screen. Like, it's get in here.
Yeah, we just rip it in the facility and get our shit and go. And then fucking the big thing is just Caleb works nights now all the time and shows up like 2 a.m. and we get 1 round in and then it's over.
Yeah.
And then Rusty only wants to play fucking Fall Guys all the time.
That's
Ugh.
not true. I do whatever you guys want me to do.
Except Space Game.
That is true.
It's true.
Why won't you play Space Game? Are you scared, little bitch?
I genuinely hate Space Game. The only fun I have with it is being inside the actual spaceship and doing all the degeneracy that goes down inside the ship.
All right.
Hit the button. Eject
So-
Rusty into space.
What?
I've got two possible titles.
These
I've got-
guys would actually feed me to the monster if that was a real thing. They would kill me and bring me to the.
I
the
take a
thing and ring the
shovel
bell.
to your head and then bring you your lifeless corpse over to the fucking monster.
Yeah, eat space, bitch. I've got 2 titles. I've got A Microcosm of Everything Wrong with America, and I've got Beer Cocaine. Take your pick.
Beer cocaine.
All right. That's it. We'll see if YouTube's happy with that title or not. All right. See y'all never. Thanks for coming on the show.
This episode was not made for children.
This episode's not made for anyone. Stop watching this. We'll never be back. Don't say bye.
It's over. This is the last one.